something that I kind of watch for, like interesting stories inside of the tournament that don't necessarily end in like a semi or the final. And I know these recap shows, that's, largely dominated by the overall result. Mickelson beating Fritz, Tien beating Shelton, kind of that little American jockeying for position. That's always fun. These kids can play. Fonseca looked great. Obviously, a lot of hype in that match against Sinner. 6-6. I mean, that ball wasn't traveling subtly during that match. I'll tell you that much. But now everyone's like, Fonseca played great. It's like, I feel like Fonseca is in this place and where if he plays great, we're going to overreact. And if he plays badly, we're going to overreact. Like is neutrality gone with Fonseca now, GW?
It's like it's like American politics. You only can have a voice if you're on the extreme. There's no middle ground. Yeah, right. He's either winning double-digit majors or he's the biggest overhyped flameout. No, doesn't a lot of him. I mean, doesn't the eye test do a lot of damage and a lot of work for us here? You just watch him play. You just watch that pop. You just watch the forehand. You watch him go about his business, and you say, you know what? I don't care what his won-loss record is. I don't care about the match he shouldn't have won and did, or the match he shouldn't have lost and did. You just see him, and you remind yourself of his age, and you just see promise here. He's so fun to watch already. There's such a sort of measured approach. There's so many sort of tells that this is a real player, and I think we get caught up in quirky results and not sort of just believe what you see, folks. I'm gonna simplify Fonseca for us all very quickly. You ready?
Everything that is hard to do, right, and that can't necessarily be taught, like I can't create a certain amount of speed on my backhand because of technical deficiencies and the fact that I'm just not very good with my left hand, right? Like I can't do that. Everything Fonseca does really well that jumps off the page, which is probably what results in you talking about the eye test, creating massive ball speed, being able to hit winners from all parts of the court, switching directions from either side with pace. Those things can't necessarily be taught to a 19-year-old if there are limitations. Everything that is still a question mark, point production, where to stand on second serves, when to pull the trigger, and when to lay back, those are things that can and will be learned over time. That is why he is such an intriguing prospect. So comparing him to just someone else his age and saying, well, this person got further in this tournament, doesn't tell the entire story, because that person's ball speed, they could train it, do nothing but train that for 2 years, and it wouldn't match Fonseca's. Now, if you only kind of put Fonseca in the realm of like, I need to learn how to win matches on a bad day, I need to learn about point production. Now, it doesn't mean that, he's going to be Andy Murray in that scenario in 2 years just because he thinks about it, but you're more likely to learn those things than have to learn the natural gifts that Fonseca has. And that's why he's an intriguing prospect. The upside and the things that are hard, he does extremely well. The things that are going to be generational weapons, he has those. Now, we have seen people that have those, and maybe it doesn't shake out at the bottom. I'm just saying the things that he needs to learn can be learned by repetition, by advice from coaches, by everything else. And that's why he's the person that everyone is looking at, right? Loses in Australia. He stinks. This guy went further. It doesn't change the upside of what he does well, and it doesn't change the upside of what can be learned. And when you think about those things together, if everything goes well, you have a guy that can win majors.
I hate even giving voice to the sort of the overhype chorus and the people who seem to relish
19.
in like throwing. Exactly. I mean, it almost doesn't, it's not worthy of us to even dignify it. I do think this was a really nice tournament for that. Arthur Fils back, won a few nice matches. Jack Draper looked pretty. I mean, just go through the list of players and the prospects and Mboko and Andreeva, the defending champion, perhaps as an exception. But I thought this was also a pretty solid tournament overall with two very familiar winners, two very familiar finalists. But overall, I think a really strong tournament for the kids.
I'm glad you brought up Fils and Draper. If you're coming back from an injury, the last thing you want is to struggle early coming back from an injury, right? Fils making the finals in the Middle East, even if he got drilled by Carlos, big deal. winning matches every time he gets out, had a great win over FAA, quarterfinals here. If you give that option to his team mid-January, they're going, that is an absolute success. That is like great as far as what we need to build him up. And I think he's got the goods, the ball production, the ball speed to be a top 5 guy. I do, and could be sooner than later. If you're Draper, right? The mental gymnastics of having to defend the most points when you're kind of coming back still is hard. Unbelievable job of separating process from results, right? Him getting back and making the quarters, beating Novak in like a big pressure-filled match against someone who's not going to beat themselves. Like big wins for Fils. Huge comeback for Draper. I don't care that he defended last year. This tournament was a massive success for him, given the circumstances coming back from that injury. Both of them can be disruptors. They're two of the names that can get themselves in there. And then, listen, they don't have to be better. And throw Fonseca in there too. They don't have to be better than Alcaraz and Sinner all the time. Can these guys stress them out? Absolutely. With what they can do on a tennis court. Great to have them back. Novak pulls out of Miami. Not much of a surprise. Everyone loves the extended version of Indian Wells. Indian Wells should be grandfathered into any conversation because they didn't do it just because someone else did it. They proved concept. They proved a viable event in a viable place. Now, if you're Novak in a silo and you've won 24 majors and you're looking to kind of pace yourself in a calendar and you lose in the round of 16 and you basically have 2 weeks before you play your next first round, and your next tournament's in your, one of your cities that you've lived in, guess what you're going to do? Bye. We'll see you in Monte Carlo.
Wait, we don't have to dwell on this, but just go further on that. Just game plan this out. I mean, I had someone, as soon as he lost to Draper, I had a former player text me like, there goes Miami. But what does tennis expect? This guy has, whatever, I don't know, 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, they're on the other side of the ocean. And he literally has, what was he going to play? He's going to play Minecraft for 10 days. I mean, how do they expect him?
Going to go to the Phoenix Challenger?
Time? Yeah. I mean, yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, what do they think is going to happen?
Here's what annoys me in this scenario. You ready? He was gone. Like it would have been a miracle if he played Miami. But like when Novak goes, hey, listen, I'm not chasing the number 1 ranking. I'm here for majors. I'm proving new success rates with longevity at this age. I will prioritize my family. I want to see my kids grow up. Everyone goes, man, that's great. That's absolutely what you should do. And then a certain sect of people, he pulls out of Miami and people are like, he's pulling out of Miami? No, those are the same thing. That's the exact same conversation. Doing all of the things that he has talked about for the last 18 months is this decision. Like, it's this exact decision. Sitting around and going to Miami and training and playing practice sets and doing the whole thing. No. Your next tournament's in Monte Carlo. Guess who's going to be in Monte Carlo? I'll bet you $1. His family. Those are the exact same conversations. If you understand the macro conversation of something, you can't be upset about the micro decisions that lead to that macro view. It's dumb. Makes no sense. He's gone. He's not going to spend 2 weeks training. Gone. He doesn't need to win Miami. He's Novak. Who gives a shit? Sorry, James. Probably not a great segue to say that James is going to be James Blake, the tournament director in Miami, is going to come on for the Q and Andy segment. So send in those questions. Mike, where can they send them?
Go to servepodcast.com and you can find a link there and send all your questions or just DM them to us. However you want to send them, we'll take them.
Go hard too. None of this like, what's it like running a tournament? I mean, we want to make this guy twist. We want to make him squirm. We want to make him embarrassed. I mean, really unload on James Blake. Empty the chamber here, folks.
If I could lob in a couple, I got some questions about a couple nights out in the early 2000s. Anyways, one thing I just want to touch on the women's draw. A couple of you mentioned the youngsters, and I want to make sure we get to them before we close out here. Never good to see Coco. She is not someone who throws in the towel. She's not someone who retires from matches. She is not someone who, even with struggles with shots, she kind of leans into the stress. She shows up the next week. She's, maybe one of the most professional people I've ever seen her age, which would tend to make us maybe accurately concerned about this arm situation. Hopefully it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of either. I think ultimately this is a benefit of tennis. We don't know a lot. If this is the NFL, you get a much more detailed injury report. I mean, we don't. Arm injury could mean a lot of things. We've seen players in absolute agony, and then they give it a day, and they still look good when they enter the doubles draw. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, this is basically a home game for Coco, and let's not forget she is the defending champion of the next major. But to your point, this is not someone who is quick to pull the ripcord. So you hope she's okay.
Well, after the match in her press conference, she said that quote, "It felt like a firework was going off inside my arm." And they maybe potentially nerve issues. And Andy, did you ever deal with any nerve issues?
Yeah, it's not. There's like think of like a back injury. It could be pinching a nerve, and then you get adjusted, and it lets itself out. That can relieve pretty quickly once you get there. As far as an arm, I don't know that you want anything nervy in an arm. It looked like forearm, which is probably better than like elbow shoulder situation. That tends to lend it. And this is I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you because I've probably felt these things. This feels more muscular. And which is you'd rather have muscular than like structural. So hopefully that's the case with Coco. But it not all people retiring from matches are the same. And when you see Coco do it, you kind of go, oh, okay. I hope this isn't
the second time she's ever done it.
Yeah, and listen, she's not one to throw in the towel and walk off if she can compete. She is an uber competitor. So we hope that Coco gets better. We hope that she's in Miami. More importantly, we hope that she's healthy for the rest of the season. If I'm her team and she's not feeling great going into Miami, she's not one to lay off the calendar. She plays a pretty heavy schedule all the time. It's a tough tightrope walk. Mboko is going to win a slam the next 2 years. I just needed to say it out loud. I just needed to say it. I just needed to say it out loud.
No fierce disagreement, but what you're basing that on what specifically?
She plays well every week.
That's pretty good.
She plays. She's going to be in position. So we talk about Sabalenka. She lost in Grand Slam. She's in position every single tournament. Now Mboko's obviously not there yet, but if you take this breakout last year, some injuries, kind of maybe limped-ish to the finish line, or at least was spottier out of the gates this year, like final, quarter major. She's making the quarters or better in every single event. She gets through tough 3-set matches all the time. When she starts flipping those and, turns those 3-set wins into 4-4s, which she will, she's only been on the main tour for like 8 months.
Oh, she didn't have a top 100 ranking this time last year.
That's what I'm saying. But she plays well every single week. Like losing to Sabalenka, yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. But she's just building. She's physically strong, right? She can kind of withhold the stress test of big tennis. So I'm just more and more impressed with her, the way she goes about it. She doesn't have to play great to win matches. She's really good at I might not play well first, second, third round, but I'm still here in the quarters. Those are big things for a young player. So I wanted to say that out loud. Maybe give me till the end of 2028, but I think she wins a major. Conversely, someone we would have been saying this about a year ago, who I'm still a big fan of. I'm not going to overreact. Even if she may have overreacted to the crowd this week, which was Mira Andreeva. You could kind of feel the stress of maybe having to defend.
You can hear the stress.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on where she's at right now? And one, am I crazy with the Mboko thing? And two, what do we make of Andreeva right now?
I don't think. I mean, picking anyone to win a major is bold, but no, I think you're right. Mboko is a real revelation, and you're right too. I mean, there's defense. She's a good athlete. She's a good mover. There seems to be a real calm around. I spent a little time with him in Australia. There's a real sort of nice vibe around the camp, not too stressful. I don't know what to make of Andreeva. I mean, look, careers are not linear. Lives are not linear. But yeah, it's when she loses lately, it's come with a lot of drama, which I'm not sure too many people saw coming. And I mean, I think you had a key phrase, which is I think she's defending a lot. That was a big pressure event. So it wasn't just a defeat, but she knows what happens to rankings when you win big events and then you don't do it the subsequent year. I'm not sure about the profanity. We give grace to teenagers, but this has become like a thing. It's not a one-off.
I'll tell you something. I don't fucking
don't
like
care.
profanity. I don't like profanity.
Enough with this fucking profanity.
I won't stand for that shit.
The woman reacting to her yelling, "Fuck you all."
The pearl clutcher.
The pearl clutcher is still, it's going to be one of my favorite of the year. That and the grandma knitting during one of the matches is probably some of the best stuff out of the game.
Here's I got something for you on Andreeva. Right? When your game is based around power and you can hit yourself out of frustration, it's a little bit different, right? Than when your game is based around decision making, tennis IQ, and clarity of intent. Right? In order for Andreeva's game to work, I think she has to have a certain amount of chess master in her game, right? What she did so beautifully last year for that run of like 4 to 5 weeks from Middle East through Indian Wells was mixing up paces, switching directions, playing it short, playing it back, defending against Sabalenka's pace by deflating the ball. All of those little decisions you have to be clear on. I think if things are jumbled up here, I think specifically with her style of game, and listen, I'm the last person that ever cares about someone hitting a ball out of the stadium. But similar to what we talked about with Sabalenka can break a racket, and I have no doubts 4 minutes later, she's going to be engaged. I don't have that same confidence right now with Andreeva. So I don't mind her getting upset, right? Her personality is not going to be this wallflower, quiet, Raducanu type thing. It's not going to be that. So that's a dumb expectation for anyone to have. The focus is get it out, get back to work. You got to find a way to deflate your emotions when they get the best of you. And they will. She's fiery. That's going to be a benefit for her at some point in her career. And we're going to give credit to it 2 years from now while not remembering what happened in Indian Wells this year. With her game specifically, there has to be clarity of operation to make the decisions to make her the most effective version of herself, in my opinion.